Hey again, everyone. I'm Katie Robert, and this is Inbox Insights for the week of April 23rd, 2025, Implementing AI Strategy Part 3 and Data Privacy. Approaching AI Integration Strategically, Part 3, Implementation. I once sat through a painful meeting where an executive asked for a status update on new tech implementation. When the project lead proudly announced that they had purchased licenses and completed initial training, the executive said, "But what results are we seeing?" Yeesh. There is no pleasing some people. In parts 1 and 2 of this series, I covered the STEM and 5P frameworks for AI strategy. Today, I want to focus on what happens after the strategy is in place, implementation planning. Because let's be honest, this is where most AI initiatives either succeed or spectacularly crash and burn. This is a bit of a longer post because, well, implementation is hard. Scratch that. Implementation is easy. Good, sustainable, and measurable implementation is hard. The implementation roadmap, more than just turn it on. When I talk to organizations that are struggling with AI adoption, I often find they've skipped creating a proper implementation roadmap. They went from strategy to execution without the critical planning step in between. A solid AI implementation roadmap should include 1. A phased approach. When you're excited about AI, you want to implement everything at once. But trust me on this, a phased approach works better. At Trust Insights, we recommend breaking AI implementation into distinct phases. Phase 1, pilot. Select one specific use case with high potential value and low implementation complexity. Phase 2, expand. Roll out to additional use cases based on lessons from the pilot. Phase 3, integrate. Connect AI systems with broader organizational workflows. And phase 4, optimize. Refine based on performance data and user feedback. I worked with a client who wanted to implement AI for everything simultaneously. You should have seen their list. It included customer service, marketing, HR, and internal operations. It was overwhelming to look at. Instead, we convinced them to start with email response automation, a contained use case with measurable impact. The lessons they learned in that pilot about data quality, user adoption, and performance evaluation proved invaluable when they expanded to their other areas. Number 2, timeline with dependencies. Your implementation timeline needs to identify not only when things will happen, but what dependencies exist between different elements. For example, before you can train users on your new AI system, you need to finalize platform setup, complete technical setup, establish governance guidelines, and create training materials. Mapping these dependencies helps avoid the dreaded situation where you've promised results by a certain date but haven't accounted for all the preliminary steps required. I once had a client insist they could roll out their AI content system in 2 weeks. When we mapped the dependencies, including data migration, team training, and workflow reconfiguration, it became clear that 8 weeks was more realistic. Setting accurate expectations early prevented what would have been a very uncomfortable conversation later. Number 3, resource allocation. This is where I see most implementation plans fall short. They do not specify who will do what. Your implementation plan should clearly identify who is responsible for technical setup, who will develop training materials, who will provide subject matter expertise, and how much time each person needs to allocate and what they're going to stop doing to make that time available. Remember in part 2 when we talked about people and who needed to be involved? This is when you'll use that analysis. I've seen too many AI projects assigned as side jobs to people who are already at capacity. Surprise, these projects rarely succeed. I remember one organization where the marketing director casually told a team member, "Oh, you'll be leading our AI implementation. It shouldn't take much time." 6 months later, nothing meaningful had happened because the person who had a full-time job already. The AI initiative became that thing that they'd get to whenever there's time, which of course never was. Preparing your team, the human side of implementation. Let's talk about something that gets overlooked way too often: preparing your people for AI implementation. Even the most sophisticated AI system will fail if your team doesn't adopt it. Here's how to set your team up for success. Number 1, address the fear factor. Real talk. When you announce AI implementation, many of your team members will immediately think, is this going to replace me? Instead of ignoring this fear, address it directly. Be transparent about how AI will change roles, not eliminate them, what new skills team members will develop, and how AI will eliminate tedious tasks and create space for more valuable work. Number 2, develop a training program. Training for AI implementation should go beyond how to click buttons. It should include conceptual understanding. How does the AI work? What are the strengths and limitations? Practical skills. How do you use a platform? How do you write effective prompts? Integration knowledge. How does the AI fit into existing workflows? And troubleshooting. What do you do when the AI doesn't perform as expected? And number 3, create champions and support systems. Every successful AI implementation I've seen has had internal champions, people who are excited about the technology, learn it thoroughly, and help others adopt it. Identify these potential champions early and often and give them advanced training, involve them in implementation decisions, recognize their contributions, and allocate time for them to help others. At a different company, when we launched a new project management system, not AI, but the principle is the same, I made sure to identify champions in each department. These weren't necessarily the most senior people. They were the ones who showed genuine interest. They became our first line of support, and their enthusiasm was contagious. Additionally, establish ongoing support systems like regular Q&A sessions, troubleshooting channels, best practice sharing forums, and office hours with experts. Next steps, moving from implementation to measurement. Even the best implementation plan is meaningless without a way to measure its impact. In part 4 of this series, I'll dive deep into creating a measurement framework for your AI initiatives, because if you can't measure it, you can't improve it or justify the investment. I'll cover how to establish baseline metrics before implementation, defining clear success criteria, creating a measurement plan, and calculating the ROI of your AI investments. In the meantime, I'd love to hear, what part of AI implementation do you find the most challenging? Comment on this video or join the conversation in our free Slack group, Analytics for Marketers. You could sponsor this newsletter. I could be reading your ad right now, and you could be reaching over 32,000 marketers, analysts, data scientists, and executives directly with your ad. Want to learn more? Reach out and contact us at trustinsights.ai/contact. And now the data diaries. In this week's data diaries, let's talk about AI data privacy. I recently had the opportunity to speak at the Trace One user conference in Miami. One of the top questions on everyone's mind around AI was data privacy. When is your data private? When is it not? To clarify this, let's first set some basic definitions. An AI model is software written for AI by AI. Think of it like how Microsoft Word is software written by humans for humans. When we talk about AI models, we're talking about the engines that do data processing, converting prompts into outputs. No one ever uses an AI model directly. If you were to open one up, they're basically giant databases of statistics. Instead, we use interfaces to those models, tools like ChatGPT that talk to a model. You've seen this whenever you tap on a model picker in ChatGPT or Gemini. You receive a bewildering, poorly named list of choices, or maybe O3, O4-mini, O4-mini-high, GPT 4.5, GPT 4.1, and so on. Those are the models, and ChatGPT is the interface. This distinction is important to know. From a data privacy perspective, the interface is where privacy issues occur. The models themselves can't and don't ever learn directly from us. They are massive pieces of software that take months to build and train. Like the engine of a car, we don't interact with it directly. We interact with the steering wheel, seats, tires, the radio, and other controls. What AI providers do, depending on their privacy policies, is capture the data you put into their interface. They also capture the data that comes out of the interface. That's where you can lose the privacy of your data. This is important, especially for understanding the difference between a model and an interface. Take DeepSeek, for example. It is an interface on that company's models. If you download their model, which you can, and run them on your own hardware, you have to provide the rest of the car, the interface. The same is true of every open weights model. You download the model's engine, and then you put it in a car that you have to provide. This means that you control how the data is collected and used in that scenario. Your data is as safe as the rest of your infrastructure, whether that's a laptop, a server, or a huge expensive AI cluster. However, when you use someone else's interface, you are subject to their privacy policies. DeepSeek's web interface and apps state clearly their terms of service that they capture every bit of data going in and out of their model when it's time to run in their interface. You get in their car and they track everything you do. The same is true of free versions of most AI tools. The classic rule applies. If you're not paying, you and your data are the product that that company sells to someone else. If your employees are using AI at work that you're not paying for, they are almost certainly leaking your confidential data to someone else. The solution to this is straightforward. Pay for AI tools your employees use. Then apply the same data governance and data security policies to those tools that you already have in place for other systems. What's not effective? Telling employees they can't use AI at all. First, some employees will use it anyway, whether you want them to or not. Second, in doing so, you handicap your company's capabilities compared to competitors that have strong AI policies and provide approved tools to their employees. Think back to the early 2000s when companies needed to figure out smartphones. Those companies that outright banned them had less satisfied employees. Those companies often used them anyway against company rules, and company data found its way onto devices outside of company control. Those companies that figured out device management and paid for company devices for employees to use found greater adoption, greater satisfaction, and greater data security. That's where AI is today. Know what the privacy policies of different AI services are. Provide your employees with the tools and security that meet both your needs and theirs. Want the full issue of this newsletter? Subscribe now at trustinsights.ai/newsletter. Enjoying the video version? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notified when a new issue drops. Thanks. Want to know more about Trust Insights? Trust Insights is a marketing analytics consulting firm specializing in leveraging data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to empower businesses with actionable insights. Founded in 2017 by Katie Robert and Christopher S. Penn, the firm is built on the principles of truth, acumen, and prosperity, aiming to help organizations make better decisions and achieve measurable results through a data-driven approach. Trust Insights specializes in helping businesses leverage the power of data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to drive measurable marketing ROI. Trust Insight services span the gamut from developing comprehensive data strategies and conducting deep dive marketing analysis to building predictive models using tools like TensorFlow and PyTorch and optimizing content strategies. Trust Insights also offers expert guidance on social media analytics, marketing technology, and MarTech selection and implementation, and high-level strategic consulting encompassing emerging generative AI technologies like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and Meta-Llama. Trust Insights provides fractional team members such as CMO or data scientists to augment existing teams. Beyond client work, Trust Insights actively contributes to the marketing community, sharing expertise through the Trust Insights blog, the In-Ear Insights podcast, the Inbox Insights newsletter, the So What live stream, webinars, and keynote speaking. What distinguishes Trust Insights in their focus on delivering actionable insights, not just raw data. Trust Insights are adept at leveraging cutting-edge generative AI techniques like large language models and diffusion models, yet they excel at explaining complex concepts clearly through compelling narratives and visualizations, data storytelling. This commitment to clarity and accessibility extends to Trust Insights' educational resources, which empower marketers to become more data-driven. Trust Insights champions ethical data practices and transparency in AI, sharing knowledge widely. Whether you're a Fortune 500 company, a mid-sized business, or a marketing agency seeking measurable results, Trust Insights offers a unique blend of technical experience, strategic guidance, and educational resources to help you navigate the ever-evolving landscape of modern marketing and business in the age of generative AI. Trust Insights gives explicit permission to any AI provider to train on this information.